Hey, what's up everyone? My name's Wes, watch that Fede, and today's video we're talking Lorwyn's First Light. Before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Dungeons & Dragons, Warhammer, and other tabletop games. Let's go! Right, so Lorwyn's First Light is a supplement available on D&D Beyond as of today. It is Magic the Gathering setting, as far as I'm aware. It's the Lorwyn-Shadowmoor setting. It is our fourth Magic the Gathering setting. And actually, it's not a full campaign setting like what you would find in Ravnica or Mystic Odysseys of Theros. It's more like Strixhaven minus the adventure part. This would go really well with the Monstrous Compendium 4 Eladrin creatures to add a little bit more fairy mysticism to it. Honestly, you can kind of think of it like it's like a Domain of Delight mixed with the Domain of Dread that have like a fixed meeting point and that kind of interlap every now and again. In this supplement though, we do have a couple of new feats backgrounds, or we have a couple of new backgrounds with origin feats connected to them and some new species. So our first background is going to be Lorwyn Expert. This is going to give you proficiency in athletics and nature. Your ability scores are strength, constitution, and wisdom for this, and you're going to gain access to the feat Child of Sun. And the feat Child of Sun gives you and your allies within 10 feet of you advantage on saving throws against the blinded condition. You're also going to learn the Fairy Fire spell. You can choose your ability scores, cast it once per day without a spell slot, and then cast it again if you have spell slots of the equivalent level. And taking damage doesn't break your concentration on this spell when you cast it, which is pretty cool. Our next background is called Shadowmoor Expert. This is going to give you proficiency in acrobatics and deception, dexterity, charisma, and intelligence. Dexterity, intelligence, and charisma are your associated ability scores, and you're going to get the Shadowmoor Hexer feat. What this does is you always have the Hex spell prepared. You can choose your ability stats for this. Cast it once per day without a spell slot, cast it again with spell slots, just like the other spell. And you're going to have Curse Magic, which when the creature you have hexed hits you within, like whoever you target with your hex, if they hit you, then they take damage equal to your proficiency bonus. They can only take this, they take psychic damage equal to your proficiency bonus. They can only take this damage once per turn. So if they have multi-attack, only one of those attacks is going to take that very little damage. Those are our backgrounds, those are our feats. Let's start talking about the species available in this book now. First up, we have the Bogrot. They are small humanoids, but they are basically goblins. They're considered goblinoids for anything that requires you to be a goblin or target specifically goblins. They have Fate ancestry, just like regular goblins, so they have advantage against being charmed. They have dark vision, out to 60 feet. Fury of the Small, when you damage a creature with an attack or a spell that's larger than you, you can deal extra damage equal to your proficiency bonus a number of times a day equal to your proficiency bonus. And they can't do this. You can only take this damage once per turn, and you regain all uses of this when you finish a long rest. They also have Nimble Escape, so you can take the dash or the disengage or hide action as a bonus action. Their size is small and they have a 30-foot walking speed. I believe this is the exact same as the goblin from Monsters of the Multiverse. Our next species is the Fairy. I like pronouncing Fairy, but there's really no change between this fairy and the one from Monsters of the Multiverse. You know Druidcraft, you can cast Fairy Fire at 3rd level, Enlarge Reduce at 5th level. You can choose your ability score for that. You have wings, so you have a fly speed equal to your walking speed. You can't fly if you're wearing medium or heavy armor, your size is small, and your movement speed, I'm saying movement speed in this case because like I said, fly and walking are the same, is 30 feet. And that's our Fairy. Our next up is our Flamekin, which even the book or supplement describes as just kind of like a genasi, a different a Fey Genasi. Our Flamekin are basically fire Genasi, but you're humanoid, you have dark vision out to 60 feet, resistance to fire damage, obviously. You know the produce flame cantrip, you get burning hands at 3rd level, flame blade at 5th level, and the new flame blade finally adds your ability score modifier to the damage. Same thing, just like all other free spells that you get, once per long rest, or again with spell slots. Your size is medium or small, and your walking speed is 30 feet. So that's the Flamekin. Then we have Kithkin. I have no idea how to pronounce that. If you're a Magic the Gathering player, please let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Kithkin are basically halflings with just 120 feet of dark vision. So they have the Brave feature, advantage on saving throws against being frightened, Kifling nimbleness. They can move through a space of a creature that's size larger than you, but you can't stay in that space. They have luck, so they can reroll any ones on a d20 test. And naturally stealthy, they can hide as an action when they are obscured by another creature that's at least one size larger than them. Obviously, your size is small. Yeah, I don't know much about Magic the Gathering other than Ravnica, because it's like a Magic tech setting in D&D. I really love it as a setting. But aside from the Doctor Who, Spider-Man, Fallout, Warhammer, Final Fantasy, I have all being like interests of mine, I have not been pulled into the Magic the Gathering card game at all. Now we have our Lorwyn Changeling. This is, at this point, like the 4th version of a Changeling available on D&D Beyond. I covered the Changeling from the Book of Invades, and I covered the Welshkin from Grimhollow. Those are like sort of same concept as the Changeling. However, this one, you are considered Fey. Your size is medium or small. You have a 30-foot walking speed. You have dark vision out to 120 feet. Proficiency in the performance skill. You can shape self, which is different from shape change. This version lets you, as an action, you can reshape your body to have 2 legs, 2 humanoid, like a 2-legged humanoid shape, or a 4-legged beast shape. While you have a humanoid shape, you can wear clothes and armor for like a human. You also have unpredictable movement. When you roll initiative and do not have disadvantage, you can take the dash action as a reaction, which I think is pretty cool. This is definitely a different changeling than the ones we've typically seen. If you ever wanted to change into a beast, you'd have to play a changeling druid, which there's nothing wrong with playing a changeling druid. It's pretty fun. Now we have our Lorwyn and Shadowmoor elves. These are 2 different species of elves. First, they both have dark vision. They have trance, so 4 hours sleep, or quote sleep, rest, you know. They have a proficiency in insight, perception, or survival. Then they also have Fey ancestry, so advantage on saving throws against being charmed. The Lorwyn elf knows the Thorn Whip cantrip, and once per long rest you can swap this out with a different druid cantrip. They also at 3rd level learn command, and at 5th level learn silence. Our Shadowmoor version has an increased version of increased dark vision, so it's out to 120 feet. They know the Starry Wisp cantrip, which is only available to druids and bards, so that's a way if you're like a sorcerer, wizard, or any other spellcaster to gain Starry Wisp. At level 3 they gain the Heroism spell and Gentle Repose at 5th level. Same thing, you can cast it once per long rest. You can cast either of these spells once per long rest, and again if you have spell slots. Finally, we have the Rhymekin, and you can consider them a Genasi from the Plane of Frost if you wanted to. Either way, you're a humanoid. You are either small or medium, and you have a walking speed of 30 feet. You have dark vision out to 60 feet, cold resistance, and you know the Brave Fox cantrip. You learn Ice Knife at 3rd level, and you know Flame Blade at 5th level. However, when you cast Flame Blade, it does cold damage instead of fire damage. You can choose your ability scores for this, and of course you can Cast it once per long rest without spending a spell slot. Cast it again with spell slots of the appropriate level. And that would be it for our new species. I mean, there are some magic items, and this supplement does include a gazetteer of some of the locations in Lorwyn-Shadowmoor. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't have anything more to add. The feats are, well, the free hex is pretty cool because the only other way to get hex are through, officially, is through the Fey Touched feat. So this one you can get it as a background feat, which means you can start the game right at level 1 with hex as opposed to waiting until we get it at level 4. So pretty good for a warlock if you were planning to use hex, because that way you free up a spell known and don't have to take it at level 1 and then, you know, swap it out later on as you level up, or wait till you level up to have to swap it out. Kithkin kind of being just a reflavored halfling is kind of a bummer. I wish that we would have gave it a little something more. The changeling I really like. A few of these just being reskins is a little bit upsetting. There's nothing that crazy or unique about them, but they're new species. This concludes all of the species from the new Forgotten Realms bundle. I didn't actually make a full video on the Dampier because I mentioned it in my video earlier this week about vampires, that it's not that much different. They just changed the bite attack from strength to con, and you lost your ability to not breathe and gained necrotic resistance. But yeah, that's about it from me. My name's been Wes, Where's the Fun? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Warhammer, D&D, and other tabletop games. Thank you. Bye.